Very much. David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to take a call in regard to Part 1A of the Telecommunications, TSO, Broadband and Other Matters Amendment Bill. This is a bill that is a part of the economic step change that New Zealand economy needs to have happen, and it will happen when we provide the infrastructure for our country to go forward. And I would like to just congratulate the Minister for bringing this piece of legislation before the House. He has delivered on an election promise that the National Party made. He has delivered legislation that will have a practical economic effect in New Zealand. And the opposition has been jealous that within 2 years you can actually make change and actually do things that are in the best interests of a country. The opposition have been afraid to actually step out and actually make such decisions when they had the power of being in government. And the opposition are now trying to derail these attempts to build a stronger economy, and I refer back to the comments made by Trevor Mallard saying that the Labor Party will not support this kind of approach, and that is an indication of a party that does not believe in this country. It does not believe in the people of New Zealand. It doesn't want a strong New Zealand. It wants a poor New Zealand that it can control and define, and that's the difference between the two political parties. And when we look at this part of the bill today, the structural separation of telecom, the opposition has been talking about the power of the minister and saying that a minister should not be able to do the things that this bill enables the minister to do. Well, under Labor, their ministers were given exactly those kind of powers in many areas, and they used them all the time without regard to this Parliament, without regard to the community, and without regard to the political implications. This legislation is not such that the Labor Party would have used in its time. This legislation is such that is actually in the best interests of New Zealanders, has rigour and has the approach there that will enable New Zealanders to have comfort that the Minister is advocating in the best interests and making the right decisions for this economy going forward. And if you don't have ministers making decisions, who is going to make decisions? Is it going to be the Labor Party elite making decisions if you don't have ministers, or is it some past Labor Party members making decisions? And the minister is there for a reason.
Point of order. Honourable Steve Chadwick.
I've been listening to this member for nearly 5 minutes and he hasn't referred to Part 1A at all.
That's right. I think he's kind of broadly in the zone.
Shall we say 23 seats, decision of Minister concerning approval of asset allocation plan. I don't know which part of that I was missing. Maybe the member should actually have a look at what the legislation says, and that would be helpful. But 1A. Yeah. Yes. Well, that's what we're doing. So the member over there obviously is looking for to just have a broad discussion without actually looking at the actual relevance of the legislation, which is actually for the best interest of New Zealanders by getting a structural approach that we can actually have going forward so that we can deliver these kind of telecommunications initiatives for New Zealanders. And I look at the people at Hamilton who are very, very, very much looking forward to this legislation, because Hamilton is one of the first centres that actually had been approved through the process of looking at getting broadband, and we look forward to the city developing those broadband technologies so that we can deliver that economic growth as an export hub of New Zealand going forward. So this is good legislation. It's been through a process which enables this Parliament to look at it in a detailed way. It is legislation that will be in the best interests of New Zealand economic growth, and it's very much a shame that the Labor Party can't support growth, that it can't look beyond petty politics and actually look what's in the best interests of New Zealand and be supportive, and we're building a stronger New Zealand in these most difficult times.
Claire Curran.